Thank you. And tonight, the burning question: should the FBI reopen its investigation into the Clinton emails?
We went through a thorough process to identify all of my work-related emails and deliver them to the State Department.
Authorities uncover 15,000 pages of previously unreleased Hillary Clinton work-related emails.
They are worried this is going to hound her for the rest of her political life.
This is about Hillary Clinton having made repeated representations that have turned out to be false, and we're seeing evidence that they were false in black and white.
This is about the public trust and whether we can trust public officials to work on our behalf.
The drive-bys running around saying there's nothing to see here. All they're doing is providing access. There aren't any favors being done. The favor is the access.
And now, brand new information on the investigation into Secretary Hillary Clinton's emails. Fox News Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge is here. Catherine.
Thank you, Greta. The Associated Press has released a new analysis tonight based on records that were released to them of Hillary Clinton's schedule when she was Secretary of State. And what they found is that of the 84 donors for whom they had records, at least half gained access to then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Many of them were major donors, well into the seven figures to the foundation. Her campaign has said that this is cherry picking. It's not a true reflection of how it worked, but it certainly feeds into this idea that if you paid money to the foundation, you had a better chance of access and getting your issue addressed.
All right. Now, people think that, I mean, there's no indication that someone went to see her and that she changed her policy as a result of seeing anybody, right? No information so far, right?
None of that, no.
Okay. But presumably, and this, this does have some value, she had her picture taken with the person when the person went to see her, because that's sort of common. And then you put the picture behind yourself on the desk, and that has some value. It shows you have some sort of connection to somebody important. So it does have some value in some instances.
Well, one of the things that's come out in the emails is a lot more information about someone who is a key fixer but has often operated in the shadows. His name is Dennis Chang. This is someone who's had many hats for Hillary and Bill Clinton. He worked at the Clinton Foundation, where he was able to secure a donor base of about $250 million. He then worked at the State Department as their deputy chief of protocol. He was sort of the gatekeeper who greeted heads of state, and now he's a finance director for the campaign. And what the emails show is this very tight relationship between Chang and longtime aide Huma Abedin. Just a second. And the reason that's important is that you see it was very seamless. Critics would say that the lines were blurred, and the way the information flowed back and forth between the foundation and the State Department and the fundraising crossed ethical lines.
All right, here's my problem, is that the campaign has come out and made a statement. I'm going to take the last words. Made a statement basically saying this is outrageous, this is unfair. But you know what? The ball really is in Secretary Clinton's court. You know, she needs to sit down and explain this. If everyone's imagining crazy stuff and that they're unfair to her, right, she needs to speak up. And that's the problem, is that she issues these press releases, campaign press releases, and they say it's outrageous that people are suspicious. But, you know, the problem is that she needs to answer this.
Well, it's a valid point in that if the intention is to really minimize or shut down the foundation, if she's elected president, then why was it okay to operate the foundation when she was Secretary of State?
I don't want to get any of this wrong. I don't want any bad suspicion. But if she won't sit down and provide information, you know, that's really, you know, she's made that decision and not the rest of us in the media.
Good point.
Anyway, Catherine, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Jason Chaffetz, turning up the heat on the Clinton email investigation. Chairman Chaffetz firing off a letter to FBI Director James Comey demanding more information about unauthorized people gaining access to classified information on Clinton's private server. Chairman Chaffetz goes on the record. Good evening, sir.
Hey, Greta.
So you sent a letter yesterday to the FBI Director. What specifically do you want from him, you want him to do?
Well, I wanted to provide more light on the problem. This is one of the biggest breaches of classified information that we've had at the State Department, and it was done knowingly and willingly. The very day that Hillary Clinton started her Senate confirmation is when she went to go get this domain name and set this thing up. She created this problem for herself. It was the Inspector General that gave the criminal referral to the FBI that started this investigation, and we want the FBI Director to look at those people that Hillary Clinton gave access to this information who did not have a security clearance. There's classified information. It's so classified that even I, as the chairman of the Oversight Committee, I can't see it, but Hillary Clinton gave it to people who don't have a security clearance.
All right, two things. One is if there's an innocent explanation for all this, is instead of making us look like we're on a witch hunt, she should speak out. She should give a press conference and answer these questions, because I don't think anyone at least I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to get it wrong. And I only have the information I can operate from as we sort of pull teeth and try to get the information out. The second thing, and maybe you know this, her lawyers went through her server, went through her emails and deleted about 30,000 of them. But they went through the full universe, not actually reading all of them, but the header. Did they have security clearance? I mean, this whole process, just going back to the get-go, did they have the appropriate security clearance to go through her emails with the possibility of a classified one there?
We do not believe they had the proper and high enough security clearance in order to go through those emails. She testified under oath, Hillary Clinton, that they had read through it, gone through this in great detail. But then the FBI director testified to us in Congress that that was not the case. And so, it continues to go.
But even before we get there, they have to have the authority to look at classified information. That's the first thing. The second thing, which I'd love to hear from her about, is that her lawyers went through and sorted it. They found 30,000 that they said were personal, and knowing that the House wanted them, they then deleted them. They made the choice.
Look, she's not the head of Fish and Wildlife. She is the head of the Secretary of State. She's dealing in classified information on an hourly basis. It's reasonable to think that her information is chock full of classified information. And it is, and it was. And that's why when she gave access to those attorneys, and by the way, the IT professionals that were also allowed to access that computer, we don't know who these people are. I went into the SCIF and go look at these materials. That information is redacted. They shouldn't be holding that information back from Congress. Who are these people that had access to this information?
And I take no pleasure in getting it wrong. And so I beg of the campaign, beg of Secretary Clinton, if this, if we are all wrong, please hold a press conference and explain it, because I don't think anybody in the media wants to get it wrong. But anyway, Congressman, thank you very much. Let me go to the viewers now.